Hello everyone! I am out in the middle of nowhere, New Hampshire to be particular, wearing my full kit. We're going on a bit of a hike through the woods today. The cameraman will turn around. We can see all sorts of wonderful people on our social distance hike moving on through the woods. See, it's all in the name of charity, particularly an organization by the name of Waterloo Uncovered. Pulling from their website, Waterloo Uncovered combines world-class archaeology with a program of care and recovery for veterans and serving military personnel who are suffering from some of the physical and mental impacts of their service. Since 2015, the charity has been excavating on the site of one of the world's most decisive battles, Waterloo in Belgium. In that time, they have supported over 100 beneficiaries and have made important new discoveries about the battle and the men who took part. Long story short, they invite veterans and other service people out to the field of Waterloo, where they're able to take part in archaeological digs as part of a wider support program. I was first put onto the charity by the Coldstream Guards 1815, a reenactment group out in the UK, who are large supporters of the organization, there having seen firsthand the extraordinary work that they do. Work, I think, which so brilliantly manages to weave together the study of military history from a more social perspective with one of the most pressing social concerns for the modern-day military, that of veterans' welfare. And lately, what with the, civic disruption that has been COVID-19, unfortunately the charity has been a little bit in the need of funding. Ergo, they've launched the 2.6 challenge, or at least they're taking part in a much wider 2.6 challenge. The entire idea is that you can march 2.5 miles, you can wear 26 hats, all sorts of wacky, crazy things you can do, all in order to raise funding for the charity. So, of course, I figured what better way for myself to get involved than to wear the full uniform and go out on a grand, historically appropriate march for 2.6 miles. Of course, I'm not so terribly creative as all that. I'm just copying exactly what the Coldstream Guard 1815 are doing out in the UK. They took part, you see, in a 26-mile relay of sorts, with their Sergeant Clive and Corporal Tony completing the last leg, marching 2.6 miles in their full Napoleonic uniforms. In support of their efforts, I decided to set my own fundraising page for the wider charitable drive with the promise to do my own march in my own Revolutionary War kit. And along the way, I was most graciously joined by a few of my friends from the 54th and 10th Regiments of Foot. We set the initial goal for $150. I figured, wow, that is a lot of money. Being able to reach that would be fantastic. We reached that, we surpassed that, in fact, quite literally more than tenfold, if I'm using the term tenfold correctly. So we doubled the march distance to 5 miles. If we doubled it every time we doubled the financial amount, then I would never leave these woods. But in the end, I think it's all a worthy sacrifice, and yes, onwards with the march, I suppose. You know, truth be told as well, I was expecting it all to be an awful lot harder than it really was. To be sure, we took a few water breaks along the way, and there was a little huffing and puffing here and there, but particularly when there was a bit of elevation we had to go past. But for the most part, it really wasn't so grueling as I anticipated it would be. Of course, good company and plenty of laughs really do go a very long way towards making the time pass much more nicely. If I was doing it alone, I'm sure it would have been much more difficult. Of course, the march may be over, but the charity drive does continue on for the rest of this month. Of the original $150 goal, we have now raised over $2,000 for our part alone. And I say let's keep on pushing. Let us see just how high we can get that number to go. I'm thinking with how relatively easy I was able to get off with just under 5 miles on the march, that I'll do another more private march of a bit of a longer distance in future. See if I can get enough material for a video more properly of the effects of a march on the body. Something a bit more historically appropriate in terms of the overall distance. If we can get the overall amount of the Brandon F. fundraiser to, let's say, $3,000, about $900 away now, then I will go a full 10 miles, and what's more, I'll be sure to give myself a weighted pack, a little bit more appropriate to the way that soldiers would actually be marching historically, and that I think will provide enough content for at least 1 or 2 videos about how soldiers would march from location to location, and the effects that indeed that it would have on their body and on their equipment. Yes, that should do quite nicely, I think, 10 miles of the weighted kit. Again, it is an amazing cause, and it is all well worth your support, even without the added benefit of helping me to suffer along the way. Thank you to everyone who has donated so far, from $2 to $500+, and to everyone who shall do so in future. Until the next time, my dear viewers, I am and I shall remain your most humble and obedient of servants. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Waterloo 2.6 march, we found something extraordinary. This is actually a pattern 1772 Brown Bess silencer. They're very, very uncommon in the field. They are actually only issued to very select regiments, such as His Majesty's 10th and 54th. How incredibly convenient that we are the ones who happen to stumble across it. You see, the piece is affixed to the end of the muzzle. Now, it may look a little bit too big right there. That's just because you're untrained and you can't tell the difference. I'm the professional. I can. You affix it to the end of the muzzle, and all of a sudden, every round you fire is completely dead silent. Magic, innit?
I hate to tell you, I don't think this hid the British soldiers from the Japanese. I don't think it worked at all.
This is why we lost in Malaya.
This is why we lost all of our rubber plantations.
Oh
God, is this gonna turn into the Patriot?
He's in the woods!
Do you want me to call Colonel Sanders on you? I think he wants me to call Colonel Sanders.
I think that's a no.
Colonel Sanders? What about Bernie Sanders? Oh, he likes Bernie. He just doesn't like the Colonel.
I got your Farb shoes in it too.
I don't really care. Oh, see, you did it when you said Farb, too.
Farb? This is a very wise chicken.
I think it disagrees with that statement, though.
No, I think he was saying thank you.
Yeah, he did that in agreement, so... I don't know what that was about. That's just like me doing a random screech. I think this... It agrees with me.